Absolutely. Here's a heartfelt, emotional, and inspiring short story based on your title. Lonely rancher found Apache girl hanging on a tree with a sign, "White man don't forgive." The wind moaned low over the high plains, sweeping through dry brush and rattling the bone-white fence posts of the old Kincaid ranch. Dust whispered across the boots of Levi Kincaid, a solitary man in his late 50s with a weathered face and eyes the color of storm clouds, eyes that had seen too much war, too much death, and far too much silence. He had lived alone since the death of his wife and son in a fever outbreak years ago, burying his sorrow beneath the endless rhythm of ranch work, cattle tending, and whiskey-filled nights under the stars. The land kept him breathing, but barely. One late afternoon, while mending the northern fence, Levi spotted a strange flutter among the trees near a dry creek bed. Something too fluid, too human to be wind or bird. He moved closer, the creak of his saddle the only sound besides the whistle of the wind. Then he saw it. A girl, young, maybe 16, hung from a sycamore limb by her wrists, her feet barely touching the earth. Her long black hair was tangled with leaves and twigs, her skin bruised and streaked with blood. Around her neck hung a crude wooden sign, carved with the words, "White man don't forgive." For a second, Levi couldn't move. The world seemed to hold its breath. Then his instincts kicked in, and he jumped down, cutting her loose with his pocket knife. She collapsed into his arms like a sack of stones, barely conscious, her breath shallow but present. He carried her to his horse, mounted up, and rode hard back to the ranch. No one saw him. No one cared. The nearest neighbor was 10 miles away, and folks kept to themselves in this part of the West. He laid her gently on his late wife's bed, then worked feverishly to clean her wounds, sponge her brow, and feed her broth. She woke on the third day. Her eyes, deep, unblinking, wary, tracked his every movement. "What's your name, girl?" he asked softly, bringing her water in a tin cup. She didn't answer. "You don't have to speak," he continued. "I ain't gonna hurt you." Still silence. But her eyes held something now, not fear exactly, but a guarded distrust honed by survival. Over the weeks that followed, she slowly began to heal. Levi learned to speak with his hands and eyes, and she responded with brief nods or looks. One day, while brushing her tangled hair, he said, "Reckon you need a name, till you give me yours. I'll call you River, if that's all right. Always movin', never breakin'. She didn't object. Levi found himself speaking to her more than he'd spoken in years. He told her about Mary, his wife who sang to the cattle to keep them calm, and Jake, his boy who used to chase butterflies more than he wrangled calves. River listened. Quietly, attentively. She said nothing, but her eyes, once hollow, began to shine with something like life. 1M.